indefinitely.
Well, I always was interested in the art that was on the street, and I think it's because I was teaching up in the Bronx at the beginning of the whole graffiti hip-hop scene.
As an artist that comes from the culture of graffiti, I'm very interested in how street art has been capitalizing on the movement of graffiti. I'm an educator and I'm an artist. I like to think of myself as an activist through those two positions.
The best street art is the stuff that comes up when you don't expect it to, when it's not a curated event. And then the whole thing became a marketing ploy, you know. Bring street art into this neighborhood, we'll gentrify it. This was just like the opposite of what it was all about at the beginning.
I would call that art gentrification.
One of the things that happened is that a lot of the artists who were doing it back, 10 years ago, really couldn't take the legal repercussions of doing it once they were married or hooked up with a woman and had a kid.
A lot of these people that paved the way for this thing we call street art got arrested or beat by cops.
Artists would move into certain neighborhoods. These neighborhoods would become desirable, and street art became identified with gentrification. So what's happening now is half the people who follow me are developers, real estate people, advertising. It became very commercialized.
Sometimes it comes down to who got the attention of some reporter or some story or, whatever.
I think it's just the coolness factor of street art. It's not graffiti that's going to gentrify a neighborhood, it's just the street art. That's an important distinction. Graffiti is mostly letters and style, and it's mostly poorer kids, lower class. Street art is mostly kids who've graduated fine art schools.
There's certain connotations that go with graffiti and how people see it. I often say that, when some brown dude does typography on a wall, we call it graffiti. And when some white girl does beautiful flowers on a wall, we call that street art. Who gets these opportunities that come along with commissions, or even if it's just a wall without a commission, who's getting the opportunity for that exposure?
There are two major lawsuits going on now. There are two different lawsuits against McDonald's with the Bushwick Collective, and then there's this lawsuit with 5 points against the developer who whitewashed their art in the middle of the night, art by famous artists without giving them a chance to even record everything. If it had been like this 10 years ago, I never would have gotten into it. But that is here in New York City. In other parts of the world, it's still cool.
And that's the choice I make. I want to be in my hood.